Good morning and welcome to our lesson today. I'm Madam Valentine. I'm going to handle conjunctions in English. So what are conjunctions? Conjunctions are also called linking or joining words. Conjunctions are also called linking or joining words. They join two parts of a sentence, two parts of a phrase, or words to words. So when we talk about conjunctions, say they are linking or joining words, we have different types of conjunctions. Like 6 or 7 types of conjunctions. Number 1, we have conjunctions of reason. Conjunctions of reason. Number 2, we have conjunctions of contrast. Number 3, we have conjunctions of time. Number 4, we have conjunctions of result. Reason, contrast, time, result. And then we have number 5, conjunctions of addition. So I'm going to straight away begin with conjunctions of reason. I'm going to straight begin conjunctions of reason. Conjunctions of reason, they answer the question why. Conjunctions of reason answer the question why. Answer the question why. The question why. So if I say conjunctions of reason answer the question why, what I mean is they try to explain why an action took place. For example, I'm going to examples of conjunctions of reason. Number 1 is because. Number 1, we have because, we have hence, we have so, we have for. In a sentence, I'm going to say she was late. In a sentence, I'm going to say she was late. Now, I ask my question, why? Why was she late? You answer yourself, you say she was late because she missed the bus. She was late because she missed the bus. Now, if you look at my sentence, I answered my question, why? She was late. She is the noun in the sentence. The action is late. What was the reason of the action? Because she missed the bus. Now, because being a conjunction of reason is trying to explain to us why the she was late. I'm going to say he was beaten for he did not do his homework. He was beaten for he did not do his homework. Why was he beaten? For he did not do his homework. So for is a conjunction of reason. It's telling us why the he in my sentence was beaten. Why was he beaten? Because he did not do his homework. So if you want to know if the sentence requires a conjunction of reason, what you have to do is just ask yourself the question why. Why the certain action took place. If you find an answer to your question, then you are going to use a conjunction of reason. If you don't find an answer, then you should read the sentence to come up with the correct conjunction. Say the examples of conjunctions of reason are because, hence, so, and for. You can use them in a sentence during your own free time. You can construct sentences using conjunctions of reason. Simply ask yourself, have an action taking place, and then find a reason as to why that action is taking place. For example, we are learning online. Why are we learning online? Because there is the COVID pandemic. So if you find a reason, if you ask yourself the question why, and then you come up with an answer, then whatever you're talking about, or the way you're going to link the two sentences, should be with a conjunction of what? Reason. Number 2, conjunction type number 2, I'm going to talk about conjunctions of contrast. I'm going to talk about conjunctions of contrast. So conjunctions of contrast tell us the opposite of what we expect. 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 If I say that give us or tell us the opposite of what we expect, for example, the first action taking place in the sentence is contradicted by the second action taking place in the same sentence. Examples of conjunction of contrast. Number 1, examples of conjunction of contrast. The common one is but. The common one is but. I know many people know but not many people know but is which type of conjunction? Conjunction. Every people knows but is a conjunction. Yes. But which type of conjunction is that? So but is a conjunction of contrast. And then I have although, conjunction of contrast. I have though, which is also a conjunction of contrast. I have nonetheless, which is a conjunction of contrast. I have nevertheless, which is also a conjunction of contrast. The common one is however. I have in spite of. Remember, in spite of, 3 different words. In spite of, and then I have despite. Then I have which other type? However, in spite of, despite, although. Then I have yet. Now, if I say the conjunctions of contrast are going to give me the opposite of what I expect, this is what I mean. Look at the example in my sentence. Example in my sentence, I'm going to say, let's, for example, use but. She read hard. Number 1, she worked hard. She worked hard. But she worked hard, but did not pass the exam. She worked hard, but did not pass the exam. Now, my conjunction is but. The conjunction in my sentence is but. I've said but is a conjunction of contrast. Now, she worked hard, but did not pass the exam. I said the first action in the sentence, or the first part of this sentence, is going to be contradicted with the second part of the sentence. When I began the lesson, I said conjunctions are going to link 2 parts of a sentence, 2 phrases, or 2 words. Now, she worked hard is the first part of my sentence. Did not pass the exam is the second part of my sentence. Now, these 2 parts of my sentence have been joined together or linked together by the conjunction but. But is under conjunctions of contrast. And I said conjunctions of contrast tell us the opposite of what we expect. Now, she worked hard. What do we expect from a person who is working hard? What do we expect from a pupil who works hard? We expect that this pupil is going to pass the exams. But what happens if this person has been working hard and then she doesn't pass the exams? The opposite of what we expect. Now, she worked hard but did not pass the exams. But is the opposite of what everyone is expecting. It is contradicting, or rather it is giving us the opposite of what we are expecting. It contradicts the first part of a statement or a sentence. Now, she worked hard, yes. What do we expect from a person who is working hard? We expect that this person is going to pass the exams. But if you work hard and then you don't pass the exams, then it's the opposite of what we expect. She worked hard but did not pass the exams. The opposite of what we expect. What do we expect from a person who is working hard? That the person is going to pass the exams. Example number 2, I can say, although she was sick, although she was sick, she went out to work. Although she was sick, She went to work. Now, although is another conjunction of contrast. And I've said, although she was sick, she went to work. What do we expect from a person who is sick? We expect this person to be under bed rest, or we expect this person not to be strong enough to work. But if somebody is sick and then she goes to work, it is the opposite of what everybody is expecting. Although she was sick, she went to work. Why is it the opposite of what we are expecting? Because if you are sick, people expect that you are not strong enough to work. But if you work and you are sick, then it is the opposite of what we expect. Although it's a conjunction of contrast. Now, I want to talk about in spite of, and despite. This is what I am going to say. When you have in spite of in a sentence, and then they have told you to replace in spite of with the correct alternative, in spite of is replaced with despite in the presence of other conjunctions of contrast. If I say in spite of is replaced with despite in the presence of other conjunctions of contrast, this is what I mean. If I have in spite of being sick, let's say my sentence is in spite of being sick, comma, she fought with her brother. She fought with her brother. In spite of being sick, she fought with her brother. In spite of being sick, she fought with her brother. And then you have in spite. The question is replace in spite with the correct alternative. Now, if they are saying you replace in spite and then answer A is but, let's say, answer B is nevertheless, these are your choices. Nevertheless, C is nonetheless, and then D, they are going to give you despite. Now, you are going to, but, nevertheless, nonetheless, despite are all conjunctions of contrast. But what are you going to, they are told you to replace in spite of. In spite of is also a conjunction of contrast. But if they tell you to replace in spite of, you are going to replace in spite of with despite in the presence of other conjunctions of contrast. If I say in the presence of other conjunctions of contrast, what I mean is the group contains only conjunctions of contrast. But which one is going to replace this in spite of? Despite. And you can find some questions, they have despite, and then you can find some choices having despite of. This is wrong. Despite does not take off. It's simply despite. You don't add the preposition of. So we move on to our next type of conjunction. So see, I've talked of conjunctions of reason, conjunctions of contrast. Let's talk about conjunctions of addition. Conjunctions of addition. Conjunctions of addition. Let's talk about conjunctions of addition. Conjunctions of addition give us extra information or additional information about a subject in a sentence. If I say a subject, what I mean is a noun in a sentence. Extra information. Maybe whatever I told you is not enough, so I elaborate more by adding or giving you more information about the subject. Examples of conjunctions of addition is one, on top of. Number two is moreover. On top of, then we have besides. We have on top of, moreover, besides. Then I have also. Apart from. Example in a sentence. Okay, so I have on top of, moreover, besides, also, apart from. And I said besides, I didn't say beside. Besides is a conjunction. Beside is a preposition. Example, I'm standing beside the desk. But if I say we still use besides with an S, then it is a conjunction of what? Addition. Example in a sentence, I'm going to say, she was, here example, not only, but also. We can have another example is both and. Okay, you can say example number 1. Besides, example in a sentence, besides being hardworking, besides being hardworking, she is also disciplined. Besides being hardworking, she is also disciplined. Now, how is besides giving me extra information in this sentence? She is hardworking. How about hardworking is an adjective. It is describing she in the sentence. Now, last lesson talked about adjectives. Now, besides being hardworking, besides being the conjunction of addition, it's giving us additional information. Besides being hardworking, she is also disciplined. Now, hardworking, another adjective describing the she. Discipline, another adjective describing the she. What does that? You can say besides being hardworking, you can say she is hardworking. Good. Your sentence can be she is hardworking, and then you also have she is disciplined. She is disciplined. Now, you have hardworking, then you have discipline. Additionally, if I want to link these two sentences together, the hardworking and discipline are simply giving me extra information about the she in the sentence. So what I'm going to say is, besides being hardworking, she is also disciplined. Or I can have my sentence and say, she was both unkempt. She was both unkempt and unhealthy. She was both unkempt and unhealthy. So I'm having both and I'm having an. Both and is a correlative. Now, it's a correlative that gives us extra information about a subject in a sentence. She was both unkempt and unhealthy. She was unkempt. Good. Extra information also unhealthy. So if you have conjunctions of addition, another example is one. She went to buy tomatoes. She went to buy tomatoes and onions. Yeah, extra information. What else did she buy apart from tomatoes? She also bought onions. So if we come to conjunctions of addition, they give us extra information about a subject in a sentence. And if I say extra information, I mean the subject is maybe being described by more than adjective. So the next type of conjunction is conjunction of time. Conjunctions of time. So we have conjunctions of time. Examples of conjunctions of time. Number 1, while. Number 2 is when. Number 3 is as. Number 4 is since. Let's remember, since gives us a point in time. While, when, as, since, during. You can have after. You can also have before. Now, when you come to conjunctions of time, you pay more attention to while. While also means during that time. While also means during. While also means during that time. Now, if you want to use while in a sentence, you make sure that two actions are taking place at the same time. Now, how am I going to use while in my sentence? You are going to say, while as a conjunction of what? As a conjunction of time. And I said when you are using why in your statement, you make sure that two actions are taking place at the same time. For example, she was making noise while the teacher was teaching. Two actions taking place at the same time. Now I have making noise, which is my action 1, and then teacher teaching, my action number 2. These actions are taking place at the same time. She was making noise while the teacher was teaching. So if you want to link two actions taking place at the same time in one sentence, then you are going to use what? Why as your conjunction of what? Addition. When as a conjunction of time. When as a conjunction of time shows the exact time an action took place. Using when in a sentence is not difficult. But let's see how to use as a conjunction of time. Because if you've been keen, I said as is also a conjunction of what? As a conjunction of reason. I say she was beaten as she was late. She was beaten as she was late as a conjunction of reason. But how are we going to use as a conjunction of time? Example, in a sentence, I'm going to say, I knocked on the door. I knocked on the door as he was leaving. I knocked on the door as he was leaving. What does that mean? What does that mean? At that time I knocked on the door, he was leaving. Now, I've used as a conjunction of time, not as a conjunction of reason. Some conjunctions lie in more than one type of group, one type of group. As a conjunction of reason is used very differently from as a conjunction of time. The difference is when you want to use as a conjunction of result, then you should ask yourself, as a conjunction of reason, then you should ask yourself the question why. But if you want to use as a conjunction of time, then you should be telling us what time the action took place. I knocked on the door as he was leaving. The time I knocked on the door, he was leaving. I hope you get the difference. And then lastly, conjunctions of addition. Lastly, we have what we call conjunctions of result. We have conjunctions. Conjunctions of result. Conjunctions of result. Now, conjunctions of result show the outcome of an action. Conjunctions of result show the outcome of an action. If I say it shows the outcome of an action, this is what I mean. Something happened. Now that something happened, what are the consequences or what are the repercussions of that something happening? Now, show the outcome of an action. Outcome simply means the results of an action taking place. Now, examples of conjunction of result. Number one, we have therefore. Conjunction of result. Number one, therefore. Number two is consequently. Number two is consequently. We have as a result of. We can have as a result of. Now, when you come to conjunctions of result, don't confuse them with conjunctions of reason, because many people confuse conjunctions of result with conjunctions of reason. And I said, if you want to get the correct answer, if you are not sure if the conjunction they want is either a conjunction of result or a conjunction of reason, what you simply do is ask yourself the question, why? If you ask yourself the question, why a certain action took place, and you find an answer, then you use the conjunction of reason. But if you don't, then that means the sentence requires you to give a conjunction of result. But here is how you are going to differentiate these conjunctions in a sentence. Now, I have this example in a sentence. She came late. She came late. She came late. Now, she came late is the first part of my sentence. What is the outcome, or what are the results of her coming late? Now, if you invite someone to a party, let's say the party is beginning at 4, and then the person shows up at 6. She is late. Now, what is the outcome of the action, which is her coming late to the party? She came late. And then I'm going to say, therefore, she ate leftovers. Therefore, she ate leftovers. You know leftovers, right? Food that remains after people have eaten. The outcome or the result of her coming late is her eating leftovers. Now, look at my sentence. I say people are going to confuse conjunctions of result with conjunctions of result. But if she came late, therefore she ate leftovers. The outcome, the result of the action, her coming late, is her eating leftovers. But what if I have to use this sentence to come up with to use a conjunction of reason? Then I'm going to begin from the second part, the action, the outcome before the action. The outcome before the action. This is what we do. She ate leftovers. Why did she eat leftovers? Because she came late. Now, if it is a conjunction of reason, you start with the outcome, and then you have the action. Conjunctions of result, you have the action, and then you have the outcome. I don't know if you are getting it. She came late, therefore she ate leftovers. Now, why did she eat? Therefore she ate leftovers. Therefore is my conjunction of result. And I said conjunctions of result show the outcome of an action. If I say the outcome of an action, what do I mean? The results or the repercussions of that action. Everybody knows that an action is a verb. Now, she came late. She came late. What was the outcome, or what are the results of her coming late? She ate leftovers. Or you can say, I can have a sentence and say, he didn't prepare well. He didn't prepare. Let's say he didn't prepare for the party. He didn't prepare for the party. Consequently, he didn't prepare for the party. Consequently, it was dull. It was dull. He didn't prepare for the party. Consequently, it was dull. What is the action? Somebody did not prepare for the party. What is the outcome? The party was dull. The party was dull. Now, you want to differentiate this, you simply have an action, and then when you have that action, think of an outcome. What is the outcome of you not being on time? For example, I have to deliver this lesson. Now, what is the outcome of me not coming late not coming early or as expected to the lesson? You say she came late, therefore only delivered the lesson for 10 minutes. That means the outcome of my action coming late is me only delivering the lesson for 10 minutes. I hope you understand that when it comes to conjunctions of contrast and when it comes to conjunctions of reason. Under conjunctions of addition, you should also add and as a conjunction of what? Result. We've come to the end of the lesson. You take care. I will attach questions to my lesson. You listen to the lesson, make short notes, and then when it comes to the time for the questions, I hope you'll have valid questions. And then I'm going to leave homework or revision work that you go through. Make sure you come up with the correct answers. If you don't understand or you don't know which conjunction to use, you can ask the questions. Take care.